How to Improve Absolutely Anything by Katie Labedz, Chapter 3. Let the Circle Begin. Plan, do, check, act. I am willing to consider the possibility that your first improvement process may not have stuck. In fact, it may actually stuck. Been there, done that, even after 14 days of trying to make it work. Maybe you had an impromptu carpool with an associate and you had to throw shit in the back seat so you could allow them to ride with you as a passenger. Maybe you're ready to make a purchase for your home or office, but you can't find your credit card. You meant to put it back, but it's missing again. It's okay. You've got this. Let me teach you another process, a circular process called Plan, Do, Check, Act, or PDCA, that'll help make those changes stick or help you to start over when it's time to shake things up again. Remember, 95% of our process are waste, so we have endless opportunities for improvement. Plan. The first step calls you to really understand the problem you're trying to solve. Most of the time when people come to me for help with their process, 80% of the conversation is their emotional response to the problem, and only 20% is factual data. Well, I have compassion for their frustration. I need to help them identify the actual problem before we can resolve this situation. What problem are you trying to solve? Be specific. Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to reduce the amount of time it takes you to review your emails in the morning? How about finding a faster way to cook dinner at night? Identify the problem you're trying to solve and then bring on the data. You need your starting data. Anytime we track something, we need to know where we started. A few examples of data in everyday life are when the pitcher comes to the mound at a baseball game, the announcer tells us his stats, his current wins, strikeouts, shutouts. These numbers will change by the end of the game, so it's important to know his data and the stats when he steps up to the mound. The dashboard of your vehicle has a mileage display to indicate the average miles per gallon when you turn the ignition for the first time each day. The gauge shows year-to-date or current gas mileage. When you log into your HR system at work, it'll show you how many vacation days you have available as of that day. All of these numbers are called baseline data. This is where we begin. Without it, we have no idea whether our improvements and adjustments that we have made things better or worse. So yes, even your good intentions can sometimes make things worse. So don't rush this step. Quite literally, one of the greatest measures of your success begins with your starting data. In fact, when you begin a PDCA cycle, you should spend 50% of your time in the planning stage. This is not a ready, fire, aim sort of activity. The planning stage might feel like an excessive amount of time, but this step is going to pay off tenfold in the future. My parents are senior citizens and they don't always adapt to change well. Honestly, what they value most are processes that remain the same. When anything changes in their world, they panic and call me. Earlier this year, they received a renewal notice for the vehicle registrations, and lo and behold, the process had changed. You can no longer go to the Secretary of State for an in-person transaction. Instead, it all happens in an updated automated process at a kiosk in the grocery store. My parents swore that they'd never seen this bright yellow kiosk. They worried about how long the process would take, the payment method, how many people could be in line in front of them, and whether the credit card reader will work, and will it dispense the registration and the plate sticker, etc. My dad was ready to call the governor's office to file a complaint first thing Monday morning. I could have told them, and you probably agree that the kiosk process is actually more efficient. When the state of Michigan required all vehicle registrations and license plate renewals to be processed in person at the local Secretary of State, my parents spent an average of 45 minutes to complete the renewal process for 3 vehicles. The new kiosk process takes now about less than 5 minutes to complete for 3 vehicles, and it's less than 5 minutes from home. But they were not interested in these facts yet. There was a whole lot of talking before we could identify the actual problem they were trying to solve. How to overcome the fear of change and establish a clear understanding of a new process. That's not a governmental problem. That's a life skill. It takes time to weed through the emotions of problem solving. But if you rush through this step, you'll find yourself on a path to solving the wrong problem. In the do step, this is where we actually get to work to solve our problem. Lots of people are eager to work on the fix before they truly understand the problem and current situation. I like to call that problem solving paintball. If you keep aiming and shooting big blobs of solutions at random targets, you'll end up with a sticky mess and no problem solved. Once you have a clear target in sight, it's the time to do. Here's the most important thing to keep in mind for this step. You are looking for a minimum viable product, MVP, minimum viable product. What does that mean? You make your most educated guess based on the information you have, but don't get paralyzed by trying to get it 100% the first time. I know that landed like a crushing blow to all of the perfectionists in the world, and I deeply understand too. I am a recovering perfectionist. Continuous improvement is ongoing, so you get more chances to make it right. One small change and trust the process. This is not a one-time shot. Check. This step allows you to take a step back and see if this change really solved the problem. If there's at least a small improvement, or if you've made the problem worse, compare your new information with the baseline data in your plan step, and you can verify whether or not the process is improved. Did the pitcher increase the number of strikeouts in this game? If we know how many he or she had to start with, we will know if the change in their pitch improved today's game. When you're planning your most efficient route to work, you can tell if your mileage is improved because you can compare it to the mileage when you started keeping track. When you plan your vacation time for the year, you know if you have enough time remaining because you know how many days you started with. Act. This step allows you to determine what to do next. Should you keep the new process, or should you go back to plan and start again? The act step allows you to make a decision. If the results are not as expected, it's okay. You've made progress, even if you've just learned what doesn't work. That's why PDCA is a circle with no end. You keep improving, learning, and doing, and it never has to be perfect the first time around. Only poor outcome is to be paralyzed by fear and make no changes at all. Now, let's talk about how you can use PDCA in real life. Problem: the number on the bathroom scale. Let's say you're trying to lose weight, or maybe you're trying to gain weight. Lucky you. And it's a new year and new you. Plan. Focus on the problem to solve and gathering data. Ask good questions. Why do you want to lose weight? Be specific. Perhaps you want to improve your health and lower your cholesterol, A1C numbers, or maybe you'd like to fit into that favorite pair of jeans that you've had on the shelf since the beginning of 2000. What's your starting weight today? Whether you're aiming to lose or gain, you need to know your current weight. And yeah, I hate that part too. Your goal weight, or at least your first goal. So your current weight is 180. Our baseline data, let's be real here, people, on what most of us weigh. Maybe your goal weight is 170, which is very realistic. The do step: make one change. Maybe you decide that you'll start by eliminating late night snacking and stop drinking pop. I'm from Michigan, so it's not soda, it's pop. Take action towards your goal. In the check step for our weight loss journey, don't check your progress until 2 weeks after you started making your changes. 2 weeks, people, not 2 days. It takes time to see changes in weight loss routine. After 2 weeks, take a look at your results. Did you stick to your no snacks, no pop plan? Did you see changes in your weight? Were there any extenuating circumstances in those 2 weeks? If you broke your foot and you're couch bound, this makes a difference. If you ran a marathon, this makes a difference. You get what I'm saying. In the act step, this is now where you make a decision. Are you going to keep going on this weight loss plan because it seems to work, even a little? Or are you going to add in 20 minutes of exercise or a plan for one meal without carbs? If all else fails, go back to plan and review your problem. Be realistic in what your problem you're trying to solve with your weight. There could be some underlying issues contributing to your outcome, or there may be additional data you haven't taken into consideration. Ladies, it could not be a good time to try weight loss if you get my drift. Let's look at a process you could address at work. How about applying PDCA to that report your boss expects in her email box on Friday morning that takes forever to run? So problem, the Friday morning report. In the plan step, we focus on the problem to solve and start gathering our data. You could certainly say the report takes too long and I have to give it to her Friday first thing in the morning. True statement, but that doesn't tell me the problem you're trying to solve. Ask specific questions. What report? Does it have a name or specific content? What does too long mean? Too long could be 5 minutes or 5 hours. You said you had to give the report to her. Who is that? It is best to use your title, not necessarily your name. You want to acquire data that will not change when new people step into positions. Next, define first thing in the morning. My day starts at 7 a.m., but yours might start at 9. What's first thing in the morning? That's a broad window, so you need to be specific. Try writing out your problem like this. Each week, complete a financial status report for the manager of accounting. It is due to the manager every Friday at 8 a.m. This process currently requires 4 hours to complete using an all manual process. Doesn't that make more sense? It tells me what problem we're trying to solve and includes the baseline data that we need for our later comparisons. Do step. Now it's time to do something. Wave your magic wand and poof, all better. Well, not quite, but close. Work with your team members to automate the report and then add some error proofing. I'm sure you never make any errors in your manual process, but let's put that in there for good measure and to make sure that we can prove your report has the correct outcome. Check step. Check your work. If you're trying to improve the speed to run a report, then yes, you can likely see that right away if it runs faster. But you may need to ask other questions also. Is the automation producing the reports faster than when you did it manually? Does it require less than 4 hours to complete? Is it less manually intensive than before? Are there any errors on the report? Did you end up fixing something else in the process that you didn't even know was broken to begin with? If you're satisfied with the outcome of check, then you're ready to take action. And act is the next step. Declare the new process for running the report. Update your instructions and documentation for this functioning report and make that the solution to the problem until you come back and make it even better later on. If the report isn't quite right and needs a little more massaging, then go back to the plan step and begin again. Perhaps you need to revisit the first step to ensure you really understand what's going on with that report today. Finally, let's take an example for your home. And for this, I'm using an actual story from my home. Problem, the white stains on Katie's black pants. Plan. All of my black dress pants came out of the wash or dryer cycle with white stains on them, making them unsuitable for me to wear to work. In the do step, the hubby believed that the dryer sheets were causing the stains. In the next load of black dress pants, we didn't include dryer sheets. In the check step, we removed the load of pants from the dryer without the dryer sheet and reviewed. The white stains were still there. Act step. We didn't fix the problem of the white stains, so we had to go back to the plan step and start again. So plan step take 2. We brainstormed a list of factors that could be causing the white stains. The stains started showing up in October, and what else had changed or may have changed then? Did the washing machine need to go through the clean cycle? What was my husband doing wrong? Just kidding. Maybe. In the do step, we recalled that we started using new baking soda-based laundry detergent in October. I noticed that the rim of the detergent dispenser was also white, indicating a link between the cause and effect. I ran out and bought a new green bottle of fresh smelling detergent that was not baking soda based. Check. Hubby ran another load of black dress pants, this time using new detergent and a dryer sheet. No white stains. Act, problem solved, and decision made. We aren't going to use the baking soda based laundry detergent anymore. And that was the cause of the stains on my black dress pants. Baking soda is white and it wasn't dissolving during the wash cycle. A process is transformational, converting inputs into outputs. You follow and use processes every day. When you run a report, you get ready for work in the morning, or you pay your bills at the start of each month. What process in your life could use a little tweaking? Jump in. You can use this space to get started.